It's definitely looked different on the internet. Alright, well, hopefully you can see it anyway. Get some color on the screen. I'm in the middle of it. Oh man. Anyway, so let us read about these her runes. One difference with the Armanen runes to the other Futharks is simply the amount of them that there are. There are 18, which if you saw the previous stream about 5 minutes ago, you know which one, the fuck are those called? They're not lyrics, the fuck. Stanzas? I don't know. Parts of the poem that each one corresponds to. But, oh, look at that. I forgot I actually read the book. It actually has it right there. So, the first one, numero uno, which is fe. The first is help, which will bring the help in all woes and in sorrow and strife. Oh, he got him a different translation. But whatever, verse 145 out of the Havamal. It means spiritual creation. Fe represents the creative fire and therefore the creative spark, but this can also be extended to encompass magical force engendered through fire, and be representative. Well, George from Seinfeld. And be representative of the first stage in the cyclical process of becoming existing, passing away to new beginnings, and that true wisdom lies in the realization that this is an ever forward evolution. Thus, only the fool mourns over decay. For he has failed to recognize the cyclical process of becoming, existing, passing away to new beginnings. Therefore, Fe reminds us of the totality of existence, that every ending is merely the signal of a new beginning. In this context, Fe represents the initiating spark of this process, a spark that remains forever encoded within it. Just as the echo of the Big Bang at the start of the universe can still be heard, so the creative fire remains ever burning at the heart of existence. Fe also aids the power of healing and renewal by enabling the transference of energy. Fe, in itself, does not heal, but enables the process to begin. Let me see. There are 2 sections in this nice fancy book I got. They talk about the runes piece by piece. So instead of doing, I'll tell you what. I tells you what. I'll actually put forth a little bit of effort, and I'll just do each Fe and then each and so on and so forth. So the other section goes into the meanings. The following definitions are the divinatory meanings based on the descriptions listed in Part 2 of Rune. Nothing has been added nor taken away. The wording has merely been reframed to enable easier interpretation and more applicable to personal life. Oh my, I am terribly sorry to hear this, Blitz. My condolences, sir. I hope that his passing is peaceful and that he goes to Valhalla. Or reincarnates, whichever one he wants to do. So the noble divinatory meaning of Fe says, new beginnings and new hope. You are beginning a new adventure, but one must be prepared for struggle and difficulty in order to triumph. This may involve travel, both physically and in terms of personal development, but either way, one must be prepared for the tasks to come. The fallen definition, which would be well, for example, if you do tarot and you're the type that will do like upside down cards, giving it like an opposite meaning, this is like that. So if you have If you have made your own runes and you are doing some divination with them, and it comes up upside down, this is what it would mean. So the fallen, or the negative interpretation of Fae, means trapped in the past. Lessons of the past have not learnt. You have not learnt. Well, I think is a typo. Lessons of the past you have not learnt, and you are unable to move on. Do not allow yourself to suffer the misfortunes of not learning from past errors. And then the esoteric meaning of Fae. The creative genius is with you. Set forth, for you shall arise. See, I was gonna do video series like the girl who inspired me to start this series, just do each rune, but I'd rather just burn through it. So the second one, what in God's name are you talking about? I'm talking about the runes, Blitz. I probably should have downloaded a better picture for this, but if you look, you can see this. See, there's the black and then the dark black. The dark black are the runes. There you go. What in the name of the gods are you talking about? I'm talking about Ur, which is a second I know, which the Son of Man must sing, who would heal the sick. See, they used a different translation from the Havamal than the one I read in the previous video. But whatever, we like to triangulate. So the meaning of Ur, the primal cause. Ur is the creative primeval force behind existence. It represents continuity and eternity. It also represents primal time and primal being. Ur is the cause of causes, the originator of all things. He who knows the cause of something will also find the cure. Know yourself and you will know it all. Yes, it's Ebonix. I said, what you say, nigga? What you talk about, you heard me? This is the primal cause behind the primal fire of creation, and is one of the keys to opening the mysteries of the All-Runa. For it symbolizes the very moment just prior to the unfolding manifestation of existence, where potentiality is so intense that the impending materialization of existence is blurred with the actuality of creation. Thus, the Ur rune connects both with the intensification of energy prior to any manifestation and with the underlying process of universal, ever-flowing unfolding of reality. On the domain level, Ur is the rune of healing, closely entwined with the healing power of old energy. Not old energy, ode, like OD. Not like overdose, but old, capital, lowercase. Divinatory meaning of Ur, noble. Good fortune, not only wealth, but health also. The opportunity is there and much can be achieved. Ur will also aid in healing, be it physical ailment or spiritual. Ur's presence in a reading indicates that the time of healing is at hand. That's a lot of shots, dog. Oof. Fallen meaning. Weakness and misfortune. You have failed to grasp the opportunity presented. Esoteric. The original fires of creation will drive you on. OG fur. Thurs. Everyone's third favorite rune. A third I know. If sore need should come of a spell to stay my foes, when I sing that song which shall blunt their swords, nor their weapons nor staves can wound. Havamal, verse 147. Thurs means cyclical creation and destruction. Thurs is the rune of the life-death cycle. Inescapable, it is both the thorn of death, putting to sleep Brunhilde in the Valkyrie myth, and also the thorn of life in the form of the phallus. Thurs represents the thorn of fate, but true fate in the form of the word. In this sense, It is the rune of polarity, symbolizing both the thorn of life as well as the thorn of death, leading to rebirth, thus recognizing and representing the actuality that there is no life without death and no death without life. Thors, or thorn, Dorny, is the force of life and death connected together by virtue of their cyclical nature. Thus, it is the essence of the eternal return, the recognition of the unity and polarity of the life death principle. But Thurs is also the source of wisdom and knowledge, as the lightning bolt flash of inspiration, both creative and destructive, as it wipes away the old with the new. Esoteric meanings of Thurs: noble. Strength and courage are needed, but these qualities will be found. You may have to sacrifice something, but it is for the best. Even if it does not seem so at the time, it is now the time for action to realize your hopes. Worry not, for your fears are unfounded, and they will fall away. Fallen meaning: fear of failure holds you back. You choose the way of least resistance, but this is an unwise choice. Esoteric: the cycle of life turns in your favor. Ugh. Why did I give myself twice as much work? I could have just read through this one section. Because I'm an overachiever, okay? That's why. That's not true, but I wish it was, okay? Just dig. Don't overcomplicate it with facts. Writ. You know that joint that looks like an eye? I know, a fifth I know, when I see, by foe's shot, speeding a shaft through the host, flies it never so strongly I still can stay it, if I get but a glimpse of its flight. Hagal verse 149. It means cosmic law. Writ. Right? Writ? Writ. Represents the understanding that through the realization of one's own inner divinity, one is empowered by that divinity. This is the cosmic law of self-actualization, encapsulated within the esoteric meaning of this rune, but it is also the realization that everything is subject to universal laws, and once we adhere to these laws, anything can be accomplished and overcome, and including, as the Haval states, any adversity, diversity which comes our way. This includes, as already expressed, the cyclical nature of reality. This book needed to be edited better. They don't go in the same order in these two sections. Negro, please. Fuck the what? So, esoteric definitions of Writ. The noble one is self-belief. Realize your own destiny. Writ reminds us of our own inner power and vitality, and our connection to higher powers. Its appearance in a reading is to remind us that we have our own inner strength and we should not ignore it. A time to be strong, but the strength is there. Fallen definition: a total lack of self-belief. Your self-doubt will be your undoing. Esoteric: abide by the cosmic law and follow its path. And then, yeah, this section, it has O's after Thors, but if you look on the wheel, it's probably difficult to see for some fucking reason. There we go. Oh my god, it worked. There we go. Wait. Let me get it. There we go. Bang. All right. Still kind of tough to see, but anyway, fucking. So you see, after Writ, it has Ka there, and then Hagal. So anyway. Do I need a smoke break? Does anybody want to join me on a smoke break? Ka, a sixth I know. When some thane would harm me, in runes on a moist tree's root. On his head alone shall light the ills of the curse that he called upon mine. I don't even know what the fuck that means. Haval verse 150. Growth in intuition what Ka means. Ka is both the intuitive sense, often thought of as a female gift, feminine intuition, and warns us of impending danger. Such knowledge forewarns us, offering the opportunity to counter it, hence the Havamal's cryptic message. However, Ka is also symbolic of the axis of Yggdrasil, the world tree, and therefore the rune that is representative of justice and balance. Ka also brings forward the notion of propagation and growth, and the idea of germination of the seed. This is both in the sense of human propagation, since it is the rune symbolizing the female principle and the growth of spirit as we explore Yggdrasil, and Ka's intuition warns us of the potential dangers that exist in life, warning us to be at all times on guard for possible dangers. Whilst Ka does not protect us from such dangers, nevertheless, forewarned is forearmed. Let's see. Legit, I think it's like missing a page. Wait a second. Wait a minute. Wait a minute. Did this section skip O's? Fe, Us, Thur, O's. Yeah, it fucking did. The fuck is this? You bitch fag. O's is my favorite rune. It literally has no section explaining O's. Oh my god. I want my money back. Ah, such faggotry. Well, the esoteric meaning of O's, noble, it's time to speak up and say what is important and must be heard. O's is, above all, the power of speech, however, not just words, but in actions too. Therefore speak your mind or lead by example. Others will recognize the importance of what you say and do. Fallen, silence is not golden, it is a cage. V gave us the power of speech and Odin the breath of life, but you are squandering these marvelous gifts, and you are weak because of it. Speak up. Esoteric, your voice echoes throughout the universe. Fear it not. But anyway, what'd I do? We just did K. See, sorry, I had to backtrack there because apparently a $100 book doesn't know how to fully print itself out. Yeah, I blew $100 on a book back when I had some money. Call me an asshole. Don't call me an asshole, or do. Let's see what happens. You think you can out shitpost me, internet? You probably can. Me versus the whole internet? I don't know. Get some more guys, then it'll be a fair fight. Ka, noble. Let your creativity flow. Ka symbolizes our inner creative spirit and therefore signifies that it's time to plan for changes or to actualize plans already made. Either way, decisions have to be made for future success. Equality, equally, do not rush into things. Take time to plan and you will succeed. Fallen. Failure to plan means failure complete. You have not planned and have allowed things to just happen, and the resultant effect is chaos and indecision. This also is a sign that one's artistic side should be allowed to flourish and to find your own way to express yourself. Esoteric, propagation and growth. Realize your creative power. Hegule. Pansy, Bricky, Pansy, Blue. There we go. Hagal. A seventh I know, if I see a hall high o'er the benchmates blazing, flame it ne'er so fiercely I still can save it. I know how to sing that song. Havamal, verse 151. Hagal is the higher self, the God within us. Deus ex machina. Hagal, in its Armanen form, becomes the rune of eternal transformation and change, but these changes will ultimately bring us to the realization of the God within us all, and therefore it is the rune of the All-Father. within us. Hegel is also the rune of personal mystical power, but this is only through the realization that we are reconnecting with a higher self, a connection which must be achieved if we are to spiritually advance, and such advancement begins with the recognition that in this form it symbolizes the heart of Yggdrasil, which Hegel's arms forming paths to the realms of the world tree, reaching ultimately to the realm of the highest, our ultimate goal. Therefore, harbor the all in yourself, and you will control the all. And it is in this form that we all recognize it as another key mystery, unlocking the all rune, for Hegel is the all rune encoded and disguised, awaiting discovery. Esoteric meaning of Hagel, noble. Be who you are. One must be true to oneself to succeed in this life. Do not allow others to dictate to you. Find your own path. Hegel represents the strength that can be found within and shows us the need for courage to be oneself, especially when those around us try to make decisions for us. Be strong. Fallen. Being led by others, failure to find one's own path, being forced to follow someone else's ideas and plans. Trust yourself and your own judgment. Esoteric, lead from the heart, others will follow. I don't need my glasses for this, right? Who needs glasses, huh? Next one after Hegel is not. Not? Pretty sure it's not. That sounds cooler. An 18th. Nope, an 8th. I know, which all can sing for their wheel. W-E-A-L. What the fuck is that? For their wheel, if they learn it well. Where hate shall wax mid the warrior's sons, I can calm it soon with that song. Have a Male, verse 152. Oh, it's okay, Blitz. This is primarily for, what's the word? Archive purposes. Most of my videos are cathartic. I'm doing them for me. I very rarely, in fact, I've never had a live stream where I specifically want to talk to the chat or any guest or anything. Because apparently I can't figure out how to fucking host a conversation on my phone. I just can't handle the bandwidth. But anyway. Writ. What the fuck? Oh, okay, so not means Rita, which is apparently the Icelandic word for karma or something. Some Northern European language. Not is need, but not in the sense of the need for something. This is the modern usage of the term. It is the rule of fate, the Verd, the movement of the universe, giving us signs of the direction that it is taking, and we are able to feel the vibrations generated by this movement. These are the vibrations along the web of word. In Nordic mythology, the web is spun by the Norns, the three women who sit at the base of Yggdrasil and wave the fate of all. The three are named Erd, the past, Verdandi, the present, and Skuld, that which is to come. Their three names are reminiscent of the triadic interrelationship of becoming, existing, passing away to new beginnings, thus representing what in Hindu mythology is referred to as karma, which translates as work, by the way. Needful is the English translation of the sword Nothung, the sword of Siegfried, a hero from northern mythology who reforges the sword in order to slay the dragon. Siegfried's Nothung, or needful, is karma at work. It's work at work. Siegfried fulfilling his destiny, his fate. Work. How do we do it? Note. Esoteric meaning of note, the noble. Needs and desires to be fulfilled. Not represents our desires and driving forces, but this must be tempered by our recognition that it is only through the flow of the word that things can be achieved. In other words, the karmic flow will decide our fortunes, a fact from which we cannot escape. This is not fate, and we are free to choose, but we must recognize that things happen for a reason, be it good or bad. Sometimes that reason is you're fucking retarded. Therefore, not also warns us that things are happening for a reason. Look for that reason. Fallen definition, to go against one's own word. You are trying to avoid the inevitable and to simply accept a fate that you yourself have set up. Your fate is not fixed yet, you act as though it is. Esoteric, the unavoidable word. My autism is showing. Did you know that Sahara just means desert? We named it the Desert Desert. Ice. A ninth I know when need befalls me to save my vessel afloat. I hush the wind on the stormy wave and soothe all the sea to rest. Hagal and Os, verse 153. Ice means calm and the stillness of ice. Ice is the rune of consciousness of the ego. It is the still calmness that self-knowledge brings, balance and inner tranquility, but it is too the rune of ice, which is also still, frozen, and perpetually within the moment. Thus, ice gives the focused will the power to freeze to the spot one's prey, and by extension, have the power of will over all others. Ice is therefore the power to exert one's will, one's spiritual strength upon the world. Ice also represents the ability to focus upon one single desire or intent, and this concentration allows focus upon the ever-present, now maintaining clarity of vision to the exclusion of everything else. And my goddamn finger slipped. Let's go find the esoteric meaning of ice. Esoteric meaning of ice, excuse me. What the fuck? Something or another hidden? Divinatory meaning of ice, and then you have noble, which is personal power. In its truest form, even in its noble form, ice is a warning. You're giving too much of yourself to others. Now it's time to think of you. Ice is the core self, the personal ego. Do not be ashamed to sometimes put yourself first. Time to put yourself at number one. Excuse me. Fallen. Whatever you are doing, it is not good for you. Time to stop. You are being taken advantage of. Time to say no. Esoteric. To thine own self be true. Next up. And a new card. Air. A 10th I know. When at night the witches ride and sport in the air, such spells I weave that they wander home out of skins and wits bewildered. See, that is a completely different noun than the other translation. The other one was just talking about spirits. The fuck is this witches stuff? Anyway, that's Havamal verse 156. Go read the Havamal if you ain't ready yet. Means primal fire, the sun. Air, AR 15, is the primal fire that destroys darkness, dispelling that darkness with the power of the sun and the fire thereof. Air is also sun, human child, reborn out of darkness and into the light. Air is the life-giving properties of the sun captured by the mature growth of crops in the field. But just as crops left in the sun too long will dry and wither, so the power of the sun must be respected. Air is therefore the completion of the cycle of growth, resting at the end of one cycle. But always aware that the cycle must begin again, either in the form of hay from the crops, which is fed to the animals, which in turn produces food for the soil. Also, at the human level, where the end of a human life spells the beginning of the next, thus reflecting the triadic cycle of becoming, existing, passing away to new beginnings. Therefore, death is not the end, merely the chance to aspire to new heights, having learnt from the failings of the past.
Death is only the beginning.
Do you even reincarnate, bro? Air. Noble. Words of wisdom. Knowledge and wisdom are strengths. Put them to good use. You are not giving enough thought to what you are doing. Take a step back and rethink your plans. It's not too late, there's still time. If all is well, take some time to reflect on this before moving ahead. Fallen. Ill thought out plans will lead to failure. You have not considered the consequences of your actions. Ill-conceived ideas. Esoteric. Dispel the darkness of ignorance with the power of the sun. And that's another thing about this Futhark. Whilst being quite obviously similar, to the other Futharks, there are a couple distinct differences with a few of them. Not simply that they're different runes, but that you'll have the same meanings attached to a different rune, or at least one very similar. And the Elder Futhark, the one we're about to touch on, basically means sunlight, if I'm not mistaken. I know Astrid the Red covered that rune today. But here, it doesn't necessarily mean sunlight, it just means light, which is Sige, or Sieg. Have you read Sig? Well, I'm about to read Sig to you. And 11th I know. If happily I lead my old comrades out to war, I sing 'neath the shields, and they fare forth mightily, safe into battle, safe out of battle, and safe return from the strife. Have 'em all, verse 157. Salvation by light. Sige is the power and glory of the soul of radiance, the victory and salvation. It is the promise of victory and the symbol of success. Sige is also the rune of inspiration. And yawns, but takes the word literally in spirit action, inspiration, inspired by spirit, the lightning strike of spiritual insight which drives us on, the eponymous, EPONYMOUS, the eponymous, fuck that means, bright idea of creativity. I guess it means bright idea. Therefore, the creative spirit must conquer. The secret of the runes, von List, page 57. This light can also give protection. The protected by the knowledge that we at one with the power of the sun, and thus protected by its solar radiance. Sige can also be seen as the rune of protection over those who see the spiritual path. For no matter how dark this path may become, there is always the guiding light of the sun to illuminate the way. Num 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 num. Excuse me. I should have had more coffee. Nah, then I want to blow more money. I should just quit caffeine. So, divinatory meaning of Sige, noble. Success, you have triumphed. Sige represents success in your endeavors, or that success is imminent. In its noble form, Sige speaks of achievable goals and a positive outcome. You can bask in the glory of your success. Fallen, failure to realize your goals. You have failed. You have set an unachievable target for yourself. Thus, Sige can be the most positive or negative runes of the entire Armanen Futhark. Either way, its presence in a reading is significant. Esoteric, the glory and salvation of the light. Now, my second favorite rune, Tire, Not Tyr, but Tyr, Tyr. A god of war in the sky, the one-armed badass. His arm was bit off by fucking Fenrir, okay? Look, when Loki's little weird wolf son bites your arm off, you gain a couple respect points among the Aesir, I'm just saying. So, Tyr, a 12th I know, if high on a tree I see a hanged man swing, so do I write and color the runes, that forth he fares and to me talks. Have 'em all, verse 158. Means rebirth into the light. Tyr is the rune of rebirth and renewal, but is also the god of war, of destruction, and of sacrifice. Tyr brings forth the realization that the cyclical process must necessarily include endings, thus allowing the cycle to begin again. Tyr, in bringing forth this recognition, also exemplifies the nature of self-sacrifice as the means to obtain higher understanding, just as Odin sacrificed himself in order to gain the wisdom of the runes and thus be reborn a higher and more knowledgeable being, so we too must recognize the need for self-sacrifice to obtain higher goals. This does not mean physical death, only the willingness to go under, in order to arise anew, stronger and filled with higher wisdom. Therefore fear not death, for it brings renewal. This is why I like recording. I can pause for the embarrassing little yawns. Well, they're not that embarrassing. I have manly yawns. Don't tell me about my yawns. Divinatory meaning of Tyr, noble. Time for renewal. Time to reflect, to bask in the glory. Tyr is closely linked to Sige, but whereas Sige represents triumph itself, Tyr represents the glory that triumph brings. Therefore, Tyr signifies rest after success, a moment to take stock before moving on. Fallen meaning, you have stopped before the end. Tyr in the fallen position warns that a task is not yet complete, but you have not recognized this, have stopped too early. See, that they used the wrong two. You're missing an O, man. Have stopped too early. You've missed something. Don't you hate it when you find hella typos and missing pages in a book you paid good money for? I know I do. Esoteric. Rebirth into the light. We're almost there, we're almost there. Hey, sit down. We're almost there. Damn, mofo. Bear. A 13th I know, if a thane full young with water I sprinkle well, he shall not fall, though he fares mid the host, nor sink beneath the swords. Have 'em all, verse 159. Bear is the meaning of life. Yeah, this is it. Literally everything you've ever been looking for, right? I just told you, it's bear. Not beer, it's close, but bear. Bear is the rune of life, this one moment in the infinite progression through eternal transformations. It is but a fragment in the eternal progression of becoming, existing, passing away to new beginnings. Bear is this life in which we have our current being. For although the process is eternal, stretching back even beyond the current incarnation of the universe, it is composed purely of moments, stretching ever forward and ever back. So Bear represents the meaning of this life and what can be attained. From the moment of birth, we strive forward to increase our understanding of life's meaning and embrace each discovery as it comes. Divinatory definition of bear, noble, moving on to new plans. Birth. Bear represents a new start, beginning again following rest. Bear can also represent birth, be it the birth of an idea or an actual physical birth of new life coming into the world. This world. Bear can also be metaphorical in the sense of a new life, meaning to leave one's old life behind. Either way, it is significant. I hope I'm making you yawn every time I yawn, because I just lost the game. Fallen. Miscarriage of an idea. An opportunity to move on, but it has not been taken. You have failed to grasp a new opportunity, which is being presented to you, and you will suffer at the hands of your own foolishness. Esoteric. The meaning of life in this realm. So it's not really the meaning of life, it's the meaning of this particular life, not life at large. Like, is it big brained or is it nuanced? Next up, we have a Laf. A 14th I know, if fain I wound name to men the mighty gods, all know I well of the gods and elves, few be the fools know this. That is poorly translated. Havmal verse 160 means primal law, the test of life. Laf is the understanding of primal law that governs life. Its teachings are to be found in mythic tales and folk culture, but it represents an esoteric understanding to recognize the truth of these tales. Exoterically speaking, Laf is linked to water. However, esoterically, this transformation into the ocean of knowledge, the whole of which can only be understood by the truly gifted. An ocean whose underlying principle is the primal law of the universe, and to traverse this ocean of knowledge one must first recognize and understand this primal law. First learn to steer, then dare the sea journey. Therefore, we can also view Laf as the test of life and the struggle to progress ever on. Divinatory meaning of Laf. Noble, to tempt fate, take the test of life. You are facing a temptation of some kind, but think carefully before acting. Is it the best choice before you? Think first before you act. Be sure this is be sure this is it, is the right thing to do, and that you are simply. Did you just get banned on Discord? Did I? Like just now? I did like last week. Okay. Think first before you act. Be sure this is. God damn it! Be sure this it is. God, that is so poorly written. God, be sure this is it. The thing with the right and the stuff. Look, I'm just going to read it, and you're going to see why it's fucked up. Be sure it is the right thing to do, and that you are now simply being dazed by the bright lights of a seemingly easy choice. You have succumbed to temptation, and will now have to pay the price. That's the fallen definition of life, and the esoteric is the test of life. Now, I'll see you on the server, Michelle. Next up, you'll see this one in certain right-wing circles, particularly some interesting clothing brands. It is the Man rune. Now, in Elder Futhark, the Man rune legit looks like an M. This is one of those interesting distinctions. Excuse me. A 15th I know, which folk stir a sang, the dwarf at the gates of dawn. He sang strength to the gods, and skill to the elves, and wisdom to Odin who utters. Havmal verse 1, City 1. Which means the male principle or spirit. Main is the rune of the male principle in the universe of humanity and mankind. It is the essence of the God-man within. Man is also the masculine side of being, encapsulating strength of purpose and the courage to progress. This is both the mundane form of living in this world and also in the esoteric form of magical health and spiritual vitality. And through this esoteric interpretation, we also see the feminine root of man as Ma. Ayo Ma. Ma is the root word behind the concept of maternity, the necessary initial phase of all life, either in the womb or within the egg. All life, male or female, begins in this way, also through menstruation, a term equally rooted in Ma, where the female body renews itself, offering fresh hope for rebirth, and again initiating the process of becoming, being, passing away to new beginnings. Main is also the birth rune of day consciousness, the day man, of awakening into this world. Divinatory meaning of main, the noble, your approach towards others and their attitudes towards you. Main can mean strength and boldness, but be warned, while these are amiable qualities within oneself, to the outside world these qualities may appear arrogant. Therefore be aware that you may not appear to others as you do to yourself. Boldness and strength of purpose are required, but temper these with passion and humility. Irish wristwatch, red leather, yellow leather. Fallen definition: your arrogance will be your undoing. You have been warned. Esoteric meaning: solidity of purpose, fluidity of life. Next up, you will see this one used by hippies. That is the year rune. A 16th I know, when all sweetness and love I would win from some artful wench, her heart I'd turn, and the whole mind change of that fair-armed lady I love. Fair-armed, that's right. The shit is so based it has race-specific colored spells. Oh my god. Have them all verses, ha! Dumbass dummy. Verse 162. Which is the female principle, mutability of matter. Year is both the antithesis and companion of the main rune. Year is the rune of the feminine principle on earth, in the physical world, but is also the darkness before the dawn of life, representing the formation of a new life prior to its delivery into this world. Year therefore represents the moon also, and the waxing and waning thereof. Year is too the rune of error and confusion, as evidenced in the saying moon madness. For year also represents love, passion, desire, and all that excites the blood. Year is therefore also the rune of night consciousness, fighter of the night man, and the final closure of life in this world. Now here's another thing that kind of pisses me off about this book. It legit printed the wrong rune above its definition. Fortunately, I can cross-reference and do math, so I made some edits in my book. Anyway, divinatory meaning of year, noble, love, passion, and instinct. Go with your feelings even if it is contrary to your thoughts. We often find ourselves torn between these two alternatives, but in this case the appearance of year is telling us to go with our passions, even to the point of throwing caution to the wind. It is time to take a chance and follow your heart. Fallen interpretation: you have let your head rule your heart and lost an opportunity. Esoteric: nothing is fixed, all is fluctuating. Next up, we have Literally, it's just EH. EH Sports. EH Runes. It's on the tree. A 17th I know, so that even the shy maiden is slow to shun my love. Havamall verse 163. Means unity of self and strength through common purpose. Brings the two preceding runes into balance. The sternness and austere nature of man and the passion of year are balanced within A. A is therefore the rune of marriage and lifelong companionship, keeping the two forces main and year in balance, but on an esoteric level, It is the rune of troth. I don't know what the fuck that means. And the invisible bonds that bind a tribe or a people together. It is therefore the rune of common goal and purpose, and the symbol of unity and fealty amongst those who share common principles. This is also reflected in the individual, as A represents the unity of ego within an individual and the internal balancing of the of the multifarious multifarious what the fuck does that mean? Aspects of self, unified in a single consciousness. Divinatory meaning of noble, you are not alone. Speaks of the union of opposites and the balance that can be achieved through cooperation. Therefore, you must work together, work with those who surround you, particularly a partner or loved ones. A problem shared is a problem halved. Fallen definition: you are alone. Your actions, or really? Really? You actions? Nigger, what? Your actions will alienate those around you, and you will be the poorer for it. All the poorer for it. Fucking typos. Fucking European publishers, man. Do not turn your back to those who love you, nor break the bond of fellowship. Esoteric, the union of two into one. The two become one. Dun, 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 dun. Yes, I listen to Tool. Do you not? Are you a tool? Gosh. And that's it. We have made it. Ready for the last one? Gabor. An 18th I know, which I ne'er shall tell, to maiden or wife of man, save alone to my sister, or haply to her, who folds me fast in her arms. Most safe are secrets known to but one, the songs are sung to an end. Save the best for last, right? Have 'em all, verse 1, city 4. A cautionary note on the meaning of the verse. Taken at face value, this verse seems very male-centric and sexist. I told you there was pause in this book. But we should remember the times in which these verses were written. Remember the times? Oh my god. The frozen northern lands of the 13th century were a harsh and unforgiving domain, and it would be the men who would venture out into the world, leaving the women behind. Oh no! If another village attacked, it would be when the men were away, so the attacked village or settlement would offer little resistance. You ain't seen the girls in my family. If a settlement was captured, all its belongings and property would be lost, as would the knowledge of the wise. If it were in the hands of those who were left behind, I just fucked that sentence up. If a settlement was captured, all its belongings and property would be lost, as would the knowledge of the wise, if it were in the hands of those who were left behind. So yeah, don't trust women. Don't trust women with books. Is that what you're saying? I don't know, man. Come on. That's not what I got out of it. Therefore, this verse warns that the secret knowledge of the runes would also be lost if it were in the hands of those who stayed behind. Hey, look, I was right. A modern interpretation would be that this stanza warns that such knowledge should be kept secret and only divulged to those who can truly understand it. For this is the rune of the All-Father, the rune of Odin, the rune of God. That's deep, bro. See, Dick, I take another interpretation of that. It's not nearly as sexist, but basically speaking, it's an operational function. Think of it both in magical terms, but in electrical terms. Once the data comes into contact with the network, it essentially gets uploaded right away. It's a charge thing. It's like rubbing your feet against a carpet and shocking somebody, If I wanted to shock you, I wanted to save it for just the right time, I'd have to be really careful not to touch you until the right time. That's just all there is to it. Gabor. It's divinatory meanings. Whenever Gabor appears in any form of reading, pay close attention to it, for it is significant. Noble definition, the gift of wisdom and the power of understanding. Gabor reminds us that we are more than mere mortal animals. Animals, motherfucker, you missed an S. We are also conscious, sentient beings capable of reason, thoughts, and actions. Therefore, consider deeply your next move to be sure it is the wisest course. Make use of your capacity to understand a situation and reason it through before committing yourself. This is what separates us from the rest of the animal world. Oh, that's what does? Okay. The ability to think before we act. Although other runes speak to us of thinking before acting, with Gabor, this is meant at the deepest and most profound level, as it is making us aware that the inner advisor is speaking to us, the voice that comes from nowhere, yet seems to know what is truly right for us. If only, if only we would listen. Perhaps this is the voice of Odin speaking to us through the mists of time. Perhaps. Could be, I guess. I mean, it's not like it's Odin's rune or anything. Fallen definition. There can be no more dire a warning than Gabor inverted. Take note, for it speaks of us acting against all that we should value and cherish. Whatever action we are contemplating must be reconsidered. To ignore this warning is to court disaster. Esoteric, the divine, the rune of totality. Alright, that's it. You can leave now. Whatever. Now, next, I guess I should go into Yggdrasil. I don't really think I should bother to get into the bind runes, but I do want to at least touch on the bind runes of Yggdrasil in particular. To get us started on the world tree, get that in my students' heads or whatever. I don't even call them students. I don't have students, I have fans and friends. And then, once we get that going, I can show you something really cool. Anyway, if I'm not part of a Discord, then you should email me and we should hang out, because I do that. Peace.